Deadly attacks hit Brussels airport and metro. At least 31 people killed.
Severe water crisis to hit Sri Lanka in the next 3 years.
Powerful Sri Lankan drug peddler arrested in Bangkok.
3 members from the same family killed in a motor accident in Salivava, Anuradhapura.
Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Jitendra Gunasena. Let's now take a look at the top story for tonight.
Belgium was rocked by explosions today, which eventually forced the Belgian government to raise the terror alert level to 4 across the country.
At least 34 people were killed, 14 at the airport and 120 at the subway station. And many more were wounded, including 92 at the airport and 106 at the subway station. However, there are several outlets that report different numbers on the casualties.
Now, 2 explosions were reported at the Brussels airport this morning, shortly after which 2 explosions were also reported at a metro station near the headquarters of the European Union. Authorities say that the explosions at the airport took place near a check-in desk, and there was shouting in a foreign language shortly before the explosions. Meanwhile, metro travel in the city has been halted, and Eurostar has also halted services between London and Brussels.
According to our records, there are only about 200 to 300 Sri Lankans living in the Brussels area. We have been able to communicate with most of them, and we are continuing to do so from the morning. And according to all the information made available so far, including with our discussions with the security authorities of Brussels, is that no Sri Lankan has been in those areas where the explosions have happened. But we are continuing to monitor the news. For any information, we have established a landline, because mobile numbers at this stage is a bit difficult to reach, but the landline in our embassy will be, there will be someone who will be answering that. That number is 0032 23 44 55 85. We also have established a mobile number which will be manned by an officer. That number is 0032 47 18 72 745. So these are the 2 numbers anyone can reach the embassy in Brussels.
In related news, President Maithripala Sirisena has expressed his condolences to the Belgian king over the attacks that took place today in Brussels.
Now, according to the Presidential Media Division, President Sirisena had directed a special message to King Philip of Belgium condemning the brutal attack.
Today is Madin Full Moon Poya Day.
This Poya Day is important in the Buddhist calendar, as it is on a Madin Full Moon Poya Day that Prince Siddhartha Gautama, after leaving the royal palace, visited the city of Kimbulwatpura for the first time as the Samma Sambuddha. It was on a day like today that the Buddha, along with a retinue of 20,000 disciples, trekked from Veluvanarama to Kimbulwatpura to meet his father, King Suddhodana, relatives and friends of the Sakya clan. Princess Yasodhara taking refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, and the ordination of her son Rahula and Prince Nanda were some of the important events that took place on this day.
The Madin Full Moon Poya Day program under the Sadham Yatra Dhamma Sermon series took place at the Ambagama North Vijayaba Pidivena in Nuvareli this morning. The program was held under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The president, who arrived at the Pirivana and engaged in religious observances, attended the Dhamma sermon as well. In addition, the event to present scholarship to university students in the Ratnapura district took place this evening under the auspices of the president. The event took place at the auditorium of the Ratnapura library.
The water you drink today has likely been around in one form or another since the dinosaurs roamed the earth hundreds of millions of years ago. However, water scarcity is an abstract concept to many and a stark reality for others. Are you aware that there will be a severe water crisis in the world in 9 years due to human activities? Newsfirst takes a look on World Water Day, which is marked today.
On World Water Day today, the United Nations calls on everyone to be prepared to face the water crisis that will take place in the near future. 3/4 of the fresh water that people use every day comes from forested catchment areas. Experts say that the worst-case scenario will emerge in the year 2025, which is the lack of water to 2 billion of the world's population. Not only will there be a challenge posed to obtain water, but also a challenge posed to obtain clean drinking water. The main cause of this would be industrialization, arbitrary development and deforestation. The UN calls on everyone to protect all water sources and ensure that the human race and all other species are protected.
The national event to celebrate World Water Day took place under the auspices of Rauf Hakim, the Minister of Town Planning and Water Resources at the BMICH.
We supply pipe water to 46% of the Sri Lankan population. Our objective is to raise that number to 60% by 2020. We are left with another 40%. This 40% obtains water from domestic tube wells and rainwater. The recent energy crisis predicts the severe dry weather that we will have to face by the year 2019. Therefore, we need to be prepared to face the drinking water crisis that will also arise. Recently, when the National Water Supply and Drainage Board intervened over the incident where oil contaminated the Kalni River, the loss was 104 million rupees. We need to have programs to prevent such incidents from taking place in the future.
Over the recent days, News First came across persons who pay for water on a daily basis and who walk for miles in search of water.
News First made this bitter discovery during the Gum at the Door-to-Door campaign.
Some of these villagers are located not far from the main cities. However, water pipes have not been set up for them. Therefore, as hunter-gatherers, they are compelled to go in search of the nearest water sources, which is at times located miles away. There is only one well that provides clean drinking water to many villagers and settlements in Medavachi, Anuradhapura. Long lines can be witnessed at times near the well. Some make a payment to obtain water that would suffice for a week.
They charge 22 rupees per litre, so when they get calculated for a month, it's a huge amount.
Some settlements are facing a crisis over the drying up of water sources.
The soil is mixed with impurity. Why did the officials say not to drink this water? They say that the bones decay. Though they have water, they cannot consume. If they want, they have to purchase for 2 rupees per litre.
At many villages, it was evident that some politicians use water as a tool to gather votes. The Isuradhiya Dahara proposed water supply project in Acharagama in Anuradhapura is an example for this. Water not suitable for consumption is being supplied to 570 families under this project.
I request the officials who prepare water systems but pay no attention to this crisis, please have a sip of this glass of water.
Around 250 families in Halmil level obtain water from one tube well in the area. Due to the lack of clean drinking water, children as well as adults fall sick. This individual who we came across in the Tunhiriyavava village in Vilgamur is one who provided rice to the nation, a farmer throughout his life.
I think people in this country are eagerly waiting to help you, but most of them don't know who need help.
Miristala is not located far from Kandy, yet the locals live in isolation and use rainwater for drinking purposes.
They use these gutters to dispose the rainwater, but they can't do it here. There's no water, there's only a little bit of water.
Locals in the Mahaindivava village in Hambantota also face numerous difficulties when obtaining drinking water.
This village doesn't have water. Let us now inquire about this village from the village itself. We use water from this well because when compared to other wells in the village, the salination of this water is less.
People are required to protect trees and forests, animals and birds and all water sources because water is a primary need of mankind. Yet when will people be provided water without having to face any form of difficulty?
Reports have surfaced of a number of villages in the Akmimna area which receive water for only 3 hours daily.
Dear residents of the Bogawat area in Akmimana Gaul, which is home to around 130 families, have received pipe-borne water. However, they only receive water for 3 hours daily from 4:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. The water they receive is not suitable for consumption.
We get unclean water which cannot be used for drinking or washing. There are worms in the water. We do not know what kind of disease we will be infected with. The children are unable to use this dirty water, so we request the authorities to provide us with clean water. We have been receiving muddy water and water with worms for a week now.
The water that is obtained from Ginganga in Gaul is purified at the Wakwala main purification plant and is distributed to the Akmimana, Ahangama, Unavatuna and Habaradu areas. The villagers charge that the water that is supplied is not properly purified. Newsfirst made inquiries from the National Water Supply and Drainage Board regarding the issue. Chairman Alauddin Ansar stated that the water problem will be resolved within a week.
In a new development on the Brussels attack that took place this morning, the Associated Press on its Twitter handle says that the Islamic State has claimed responsibility for the attack. Stay tuned to News First for further developments on this story. In our developing story tonight, the German experts who visited the island to investigate the failures at 2 substations of the Ceylon Electricity Board forwarded their recommendations today. MC Vikramasuriya, the general manager of the Ceylon Electricity Board, said the German experts forwarded the recommendations during discussions following an inspection at the Biyagama and Kotugoda substations. A report on the matter is to be presented in 2 days. The committee appointed by the subject minister to inquire into the power failure is to be handed over to the President tomorrow. The report will be presented to Parliament on Thursday by Ranjit Siamalapitiya, the Minister of Power and Renewable Energy.
The Ceylon Electricity Board was the main point of discussions on the program Face the Nation, which aired last evening.
You said that you are going to resign as the chairman of the CEB after power is restored. Yeah. And you are still the chairman of the CEB. Why did you change your decision?
Yeah, it's like this now. You know that when the first power failed in September, I thought, okay, we should correct it and that's all right. Then the second time it failed, and it went to a third time as well. So I thought that you can't say CEB is perfect. Somebody should take responsibility. I thought the engineers who are doing it, they should step in and say, okay, we have made a mistake, or we have shortcomings like this, then this can happen. But unfortunately, I could see nothing like that. It was not my resignation. I was showing them, look here, buddies, we have to do something. We have to take the responsibility. It was rather than resignation, it was taking the responsibility.
Was it deceiving the public?
No, not.
Was it like
no, not at all.
That you did, Mr. Vijay?
Because I am a permanent staff member of Moratul University, so I have no problem about my jobs. So I am very well placed there.
But you still remain as a CEB chairman.
But because minister said, okay, for the time being I can't accept it. It's a crisis situation. You stay there. We'll take a decision later on.
What's the financial position of the CEB?
CEB, we are improving because of the coal power plant.
So you're using...
because these days to generate a unit from Norachole, our cost on call is about 4 rupees. So
is that including all the interest payments?
No, I mean the cost of call is about 4 rupees.
Right.
Maybe you can add about another 3 rupees for the capital cost.
Right.
Yeah, about
so
7
how much
rupees.
of the capital cost have you recovered so far?
You know that our cost was 1.35 billion dollars, and we only had the first power plant running until 2014.
Right.
The second and third came only at the end of 2014, and we are just now running it on full load now.
So what are you doing with the money that is being saved because of the lower prices of coal?
First we are using the savings to repay the huge deficits we have for the previous running on oils.
Right.
We have 40 billion deficit to public banks.
So it's a bit. It's correct to say that the CEB is, in comparative terms, a bit flush with money.
Not flush with me. We are flush with loans.
Concerns surrounding the construction of a coal power plant were also raised during the program.
As far as this Sampur power plant is concerned, I think it was the CEB's plan to go for coal. Then only the other players come into the picture. The Indians are not that keen on coal. What they are keen on is the location. They want to occupy the Trincomalee or neighboring area in order to avoid any other players coming, other countries coming into that particular area.
What we need to look at is what is the energy grid in the future look like. Right. The one of the biggest issues that I have with the CEB's generation plan is that even for 2033 it's only coal, whereas the rest of the world is basically dismantling their coal infrastructure to plug in more renewables and what we call the demand responsive power plants like natural gas. Right? What is the future grid looking like? So what we would look at is a distributed generation system that is running on renewables. What is our current grid? Our current grid is the old-fashioned grid, which is using large-scale generation with centralized distribution. This is a thing of the past. We are looking at a future where every consumer is also a generator. But we cannot take this conversation without talking about the cost to the people of putting these coal power plants, because at the end of the day you can have all the electricity that you want, but you need to be able to look at your hands and see if there's blood in there, and that's what we are talking about. When you pollute these people's lands who are already compromised with these type of chemicals, you are just creating a massive public health issue, and that has to hang very heavily on our shoulders.
According to the police, Vasantha Mendis, an alleged top-tier drug peddler, has been arrested in Bangkok, Thailand. A red notice had been issued against the suspect by the Negombo Magistrates Court in the year 2013.
Information regarding the drug peddler named Vasantha Mendis came to light nearly 1 year ago following a revelation made by a Liberian national who was arrested at the Katnaika International Airport. The Liberian national attempted to flee the country using a diplomatic passport. When he was arrested, he had in possession 30 kilograms of heroin. The suspect is currently placed behind bars at the Negombo prison. Police said that the individual named Vasantha Mendis, who was arrested by security forces in Thailand, will be brought to the island in the next few days.
A motor accident in Salia this morning claimed the lives of 3 persons of the same family. Police stated that 2 suspects were arrested in connection to the incident.
The motor accident occurred at 5:30 in the morning near the 20th milepost along the Anuradhapura-Puttalam main road in Salia. 2 women and a 12-year-old lost their lives in this tragic accident. The deceased were of the same family, the mother, daughter and the grandson. According to the relations, they met with this unfortunate incident on their way to observe SIL. They met with this untimely accident when a lorry plying from the opposite direction ran over them while they were walking along the Puttalam-Anuradhapura main road.
The lorry was parked here at around 5:30 in the morning. 2 individuals got off from the lorry and came running. They said that the vehicle met with an accident because someone had come across the road, but there was nobody on the road. Then I saw someone on the road along with a child further away.
The arrested individuals were the driver of the lorry and his assistant who fled the scene. According to the police, they had surrendered themselves through a lawyer.
Welcome back to the news. UNP MP Mujibur Rahman, speaking at an event in Grand Pass, commented on the debt of the government.
Under the previous government, many state institutions are in debt. The CPC is in debt to the total of 36 billion rupees as of 2015. The Ports Authority is in debt of 260 billion rupees. Lanka is in debt of 211 rupees. The Ministry of Transport has not paid the EPF and ETF of the employees of around 23 billion rupees. The current government inherited such a debt burden. Now they say that we have failed. They took loans in billions to build the Norachuli power plant and then the Hambantota port and airport. What is the revenue generated from the Mattala airport? There is no revenue. We need to pay back the loans they took. Some loans have not been even documented.
Minister of Housing and Construction Sajid Premadasa participated in an event held in the Sisalasagam area in Hambantota today.
The event was held to present sewing machines to 61 women to engage in self-employment. Back then, it was not a person's talent that was taken into account. It was based on the political love affair that was maintained. Were political officers attacked and cutouts were erected? It was only then high-ranking posts such as the post of principal would be given to everyone. However, the system has changed. Each and every rupee is spent for the benefit of the nation and its people. Do not expect for an era where the minister would influence the police on behalf of the wrongdoers and also influence the judges over the phone. That era is no more. It was stopped after the presidential elections.
Speaking today in Modara, Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake commented as to why the price of bread was increased.
A question was posed as to why the prices of bread was increased. The farmers make a plea to increase the consumption of rice. The production cost surrounding paddy is high, resulting in a difficulty in exporting rice. We cannot discourage the farmers. What we can do is to increase consumption. This is the measure we have taken for that.
8 of 50,000 rupees each was presented to the Davalasina Rama in Modara and the Shakya Rama in Grand Pass by Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake.
And well, that's a wrap of your primetime news for tonight. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jitendra Gunasena.
And I'm Shen Silva. Take care and good night.